Hello, welcome to Paul's Not So Perfect Workshop, where nothing is perfect, but it's functional, it works well, we made it, and we love it. Hello, I made this nice handy dandy 3-shelf little piece of furniture. Pretty simple thing to put together and not very expensive. I made it 40 tall and 14 wide, and I put the shelves about 13 inches apart. I did that so that all the shelves themselves could be at least 12 by 12 by 12. So I got a little bit with that. Literally, it's just cutting strips of wood and gluing them together. So you can do this with anything that you get strips out of. Again, so we're talking 40 tall and 14 across. And because I did 3/4 inch wood, which is 1x6s, that gets all these 3/4, you had to do 16 slats. I actually did an extra one. It just seemed better to have a vertical in the front and a vertical in the back, which got us from front to back 13 inches. And if you go from front to that front shelf, it's 12, and just shelf and edge of the shelf 11.5. So it's good. Now, some places where it's not so perfect, because I don't do everything perfect, is one, it's a little wobbly, but you can fix that with little felt pads. And I was thinking of putting felt underneath this anyways. And then again, some of the wood doesn't line up perfectly because some wood is bent, a little crooked on some wood. I'm sure there's some ways you could work on that. And my shelves probably are not perfectly level because I only measured on the first layer and then just eyeballed the remaining layers. So again, you can do this out of any wood that you can get strips of. I used some 1x6s that I used my table saw to cut. I actually cut them at 7/8 of an inch. So these are 7/8 wide. I could have done 3/4. I could have done a half. Half might be a little thin. And those 3 1x6s, 8 foot tall, $15, and a bottle of wood glue, $5. You're going to use that bottle of wood glue for other things. So this would be the wood glue. And nice thing about it is the dimensions I did, there really wasn't much left over from the wood. I mean, you got these two little pieces, a couple of the strips, and then a couple strips when I cut 7/8 of an inch. This is what was left at the edge of the boards. So nice little project, make some nice little furniture things. Again, the only thing you gotta remember is if you cut it out of stuff that's not 1x6s, again, you can do anything and glue it together. You're gonna need more layers to get the size you need. That would be the only thing. I was thinking using 1/4 inch wood, and again, these are 3/4 of an inch thick. If I use 1/4 inch wood, I have to use 3 times as many pieces and strips. I just glued them all together, and again, there's a little bit of not perfect. There's some glue sticking out. You could get rid of that. You could, sand that off, pick that off. I'm okay with it. So, nice little piece of furniture, easy to make, less than $20. I glued it all together all at once and just put some weight on it. Some people would glue them layer by layer, make sure everything's perfect and lined up. I could use a nail gun to put each layer together. I could have done that. That would have been a whole lot of nails, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 8 layers. Not a big deal. If you don't have a nail gun, just glue it. So that's that project. So I started with 3 1x6x8s. I cut them into 40 inch and 14 inch. Then I went to the table saw, put it at 7/8 of an inch, and cut the strips all up. I cut it in 3/4, whatever. That's a little bit of leftover. It's just some little edges from the 1x6. I marked where I wanted to put the cross slats for the middle shelves that's about 13 inches apart. That way you got 12 by 12 by 12ish, a little bit bigger than that. And then I just started gluing layer at a time. I always started with the ends to try and get it square, and then put in the middle two. And I marked a line for the middle two, and then I just started going layer by layer by layer, eyeballing the middle two. Put something heavy on top of it, that way the glue would hold, and that's all that was left over from 3 pieces of wood.